Hello, very good morning and welcome to Adavan Newspaper Highlights. Today, Thursday, 9th of March 2017. This is Edward with the highlights of today's English newspapers. As usual, we have three leading daily newspapers for the highlights. Daily Mirror, Daily News and Ceylon Today. Firstly, let's have a look on the Daily Mirror. The main headline of the Daily Mirror highlights: Dinesh suspended from Parliament for 1 week. Bill is called in for the first time. Speaker refuses to recognize Vimal's party. The motion was passed 85 for, 21 against. After a tense parliamentary session, joint opposition's parliamentary group leader Dinesh Gunawardena was suspended from attending parliamentary sessions for 1 week following a vote in the House. Customs seized 193 million rupees worth Indonesian flags. The Customs Central Investigation Bureau officers seized 3.5 million cigarette sticks valued at 193 million rupees at Orgudawat Rank Container Terminal yesterday, Customs spokesman Dharmasena said. Another highlight says, TNA firm on implementing UNHRC resolution. In the wake of some TNA MPs sending a letter to the United Nations Human Rights Council, the party's parliamentary group met and unanimously resolved that the resolution adopted on Sri Lanka should be strictly adhered to by the government. Sale of loose facts will be banned, Rajada says. A memo that seeks approval to ban cigarettes in singles will be presented to the cabinet next week as another step to eliminate the habit of smoking among Sri Lankans and among the youth in particular, Health and Indigenous Medicine Minister Dr. Rajada Senartha said yesterday. Killing at Rameswaram, Indian fishermen to complain to UNHRC. If both Indian and Sri Lankan governments remain silent regarding the killing of the Rameswaram fishermen, Indian fishermen's organizations yesterday said they would complain at the United Nations Human Rights Commission against the shooting. Forced disappearances, action in line with OMP bill. Government will take action against any individual, whether they be military or civil, only if the Office of Missing Persons acknowledges them as forced disappearances, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe told Parliament yesterday. Secondly, let's move to Daily News. The main headline says, uproar in House, Dinesh suspended for 1 week. MPs vote in favour of suspension. And the highlight says with a picture, President invites Joko Widodo for state visit. Sri Lanka, Indonesia discuss a free trade agreement. Foreign Ministry is tasked to proceed with the further talks. President receives a grand welcome at Presidential Palace. President Maithripala Sirisena and his Indonesian counterpart Joko Widodo discussed the possibility of a free trade agreement between the two countries. Both leaders, during the bilateral discussions held last morning at the Indonesian Presidential Palace, entrusted their foreign ministries with the task of preparing a plan to proceed with the FTA talks. Presidential Commission on Bond Issue. Perpetual Treasuries Limited Council expresses dissatisfaction in manner which AG conducting proceedings. Legal representative for Perpetual Treasuries Limited, President's Counsel Nihal Fernando yesterday expressed his dissatisfaction in the manner in which the Attorney General is conducting the proceedings at the hearing of the Presidential Commission to investigate and inquire into the issuance of Treasury bonds. Let's move to Ceylon Today. The main headline of the Ceylon Today also talks about the chaos in Parliament, in which Dinesh Gunawardena was suspended from attending parliamentary sessions for 1 week. If OMP receives complaints, action against military personnel, civilians, says Prime Minister. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe asserted in Parliament yesterday that the government would take action against any military personnel or a civilian for enforced disappearances only if the Office of Missing Persons receives a complaint against such an individual. The Prime Minister stated that investigations would be carried out into forced disappearances in accordance with the Office of Missing Persons Act. US Human Rights report is still bleak. Issues addressed but violations continue. The Sri Lankan civil administration framework has been able to maintain effective control over the security forces. The Sri Lanka 2016 Human Rights Report by the US Department of State states civilian authorities generally maintained effective control over the security forces, but there were continued reports that police and security forces personnel sometimes acted independently, the report added. Joseph Pararajasingham assassination. Pillayan pleads not guilty to all charges. Former Eastern Province Chief Minister Sivanesathurai Chandrakanthan, alias Pillayan, yesterday pleaded not guilty to all charges preferred against him over the assassination of former Batticaloa District Tamil National Alliance parliamentarian Joseph Pararajasingham in December 2005. With that, let's come to the end of today's paper highlights. We will come with the highlights of tomorrow's newspapers. Thanks for listening to other newspaper highlights.